Hello, everyone. I'm Tanya Rivero. Welcome back to CBSN. The Senate Consumer Protection Subcommittee is grilling the heads of several social media companies over their influence on young users. Executives from Snapchat, YouTube, and TikTok testified on Tuesday about the algorithmic safety of each platform. They also discussed how their companies are working to protect their users. Joining us now for more on this is CBSN tech reporter Dan Patterson. Hi, Dan. Great to see you. So this is the second time this month the Senate subcommittee has grilled big tech companies on the topic of child safety on their platforms. Why is this becoming such a recurring theme on Capitol Hill?
Yeah, Tanya. So if there's anything that does seem to get bipartisan support, it is tech regulation. Senator Klobuchar, a Democrat, Grassley, a Republican, they've proposed legislation together. Senators Markey and Blumenthal, both Democrats, John Thune, a Republican, all have proposed legislation. Many more are on the way. And the big question here is, why? Well, we had a hint at that earlier this week with the release of the Facebook papers. These are thousands of documents that allege Facebook knew a lot more than they disclosed about the rise of hate speech and violent content on the platform. And we saw hints at that earlier in this month with the Facebook whistleblower Frances Haugen alleging much of the same. So as big tech has grown, so too has the interest of regulators. And knowing that this material was coming, it was almost inevitable, Tanya, that Congress would start looking into the impact of big tech on kids.
Absolutely. We do seem to be at a watershed moment here. So Facebook and Instagram have been under the microscope for the type of posts their algorithms promote to young users. However, TikTok, Snapchat, and YouTube say that their platforms work differently. To what degree is this true?
Well, during today's hearings, you heard in different forms, using different types of language, you heard almost each and every one of these companies say the same thing, more or less, which was, hey, look, it's not us. We have sacrificed growth in order to put in tools and algorithmic changes that may have prevented us from earning as much as we were capable of, but also did help protect our users. Now, some of that may be an exaggeration. Many of these companies only very recently made changes to the platform. But one great example did come from Snapchat. Jennifer Stout, who is the VP of Global Public Policy, gave an example where she said that, hey, look, when you open Snap, you see a camera lens, something to help you take a picture and create content. Our emphasis is on content creation and messaging as opposed to an algorithmic newsfeed that hooks you. Now, that may sound a little pedantic, but it is true that these companies design content and filter content in very different ways.
And Dan, TikTok did initiate a new set of safety measures ahead of the release of a series of leaked Facebook documents. The now redacted copies have been shared with journalists around the world by a congressional source. What changes did TikTok make following the release of this information?
Yeah, Tanya, so TikTok is an example of one company, one very recently hot company that is dependent on an algorithmic feed. In fact, their algorithm is kind of the secret sauce of why the company is so successful. It can pluck content that it thinks you want to see and put it in front of you very efficiently. They released very recently a well-being guide. This is called Digital Well-Being, and it's focused on eating disorders, bullying prevention, COVID-19 information, election integrity, suicide and self-harm prevention, and general mental health wellness. So this is a very recent change that the company has made, but they did stress over and over today that they have created filters for younger users as well as guidelines and tools for parents and older users that help keep kids safe.
So, Dan, what type of legislation then are these companies suggesting to better protect young users on their platforms? Because it's always one thing when the companies themselves suggest legislation and another thing when it's imposed by Congress.
Yeah, it was very interesting to watch this back and forth. The companies sometimes seem to agree with Congress, and some of the legislation that was proposed kind of echoes stuff that Markey and Blumenthal, along with Representative Castor, suggested about protecting children and teens from manipulation and inauthentic activity. Some of the changes could dovetail with Klobuchar and Grassley's recommendations. They wanted to change how companies steer you towards content. So in search results, say Amazon or Google or Apple might promote their own content over an air quotes organic result. Now, that same type of algorithm can be used to put content in front of you. So this type of legislation might at least make these very opaque algorithms less opaque. It kind of helps shine a light and at least helps parents and others better understand how content is selected and put in front of kids.
All right, Dan Patterson, thank you so much. We appreciate your insight.
Great to see you.